Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. Once before, we talked about a interstellar, intergalactic, planetary nightmare as an enemy. When you know it, an airplane passes at just this moment. Hopefully, my AI cleans it up for me. Now the dog wants to lick a bowl. The Borg was not an enemy intergalactically, and the nomadic wanderers. They controlled the entire galaxy in which they held. The Borg was not an entity that you could readily attack in the sense that you would other enemies. So most planets who had the technology would simply leave or avoid them. You couldn't dare make any contact, if not the prelude, 2012. But for sure, by 2015, the attack was launched and they were fully on the move. Fully on the move. The Borg would boast of no centralized structure in the sense that we would think of other enemies. Instead, they rely on a hive mentality. What one thinks, they all think. What one act, it is a 100 techniques of subversion. Psychological warfare. Didn't we talk about the 5 different types of warfare before? Psychological, emotional, spiritual, political, and if need be, physical. Those are the five different battlefields that warfare has to be waged on. I said before that he who wins 3 of the 4 takes the game. The fourth one falls into place, and the unique ability, which is this weapon. In fact, without this ability, the Borg is rendered moot, void, and also homeless. I mean harmless. The Borg relies on the systems and the structures and the governments that's already in place. It does not change any of that. It does not attack any of that. What it does is infect the people, because the Borg have no real physical with an enemy such as a Borg that basically just usurps the authority at all levels of the inhabitants of the planet in which it attacks. That leaves it to the ones who we'll call them the uninfected. You will fight at some point once you figure out how. And they did it, and it'll be a first. It will be a first, because across the interplanetary spectrum, and the Borg has taken control of all of the population, not just the citizens, which the citizens are the police, the citizens are the judges, the citizens are the military, the citizens are the lawyers, and so on and so forth. Then what do you have? Because not only is the Borg ineffective, was ineffective at a 100% success rate. In fact, I would say that it hovers around the neighborhood of 71%. Needs the support of not only in environments, but it must be and almost altered an environment for it to survive. This is a new one for the Borg. It's uncharted territory for the Borg. And at any rate, the Borg makes up the structure of the civil service system from top to bottom. Hence, things like gang stalking. But when you read, some of it is. Spiritually, yes, it is. It's most definitely out of hate. No way around that. But you have to understand it is also actions born of a strategy. So the Borg needs certain emotional states, certain psychological bents for it to operate. See, this is a new one for the Borg. And what that shows us as the Borg's enemy, the victims are those who the Borg could not infect. Okay? So the infected is used against other citizens because of the fear that the Borg has of the uninfected. Are you following me? Good. I think you're following me. So what will the Borg do? Who knows? Right now, gang stalk everybody. Gang stalk and do it under if the uninfected know of it or not. I don't think that's it. I think there's nothing else left to do but to keep assuming that with enough pressure, enough torture, enough harassment, stalking, tapping of phones, false arrest, you name it, to break that person down to a mental state or psychological state where the Borg can now take advantage of it and thereby infect that person. It's pure calculation. That has to be stressful. That has to be quite stressful, even for the Borg. But then I started thinking to myself about the whole term hive mentality. How does a hive mentality develop? How do all of a sudden the hive start to act dependently on the rest of the hive and thoughtlessly, seamlessly, seemingly anyway? Deal with the source of the thoughts and you deal with the hive itself. Imagine a country or a city, or a city that thinks it's okay, and they are fully aware of it. They're fully aware of the gang stalking. Trust me, fully aware, and yet no one does anything. There is no evidence of that person ever doing anything wrong. So let me give you a brief history, and then I'm going to wrap this up as they're bringing down that building. But let's not talk about that. In comes FISA, a secret court, and the government said, who was in power during that time? Which liar? Which liar was in charge during that time? I don't remember, but he'll come back to tell me, hopefully, during the course of this conversation. It may have been Clinton. I don't know. But at any rate, no, it wasn't. It was George Bush Jr. At any rate, I knew it would come back to me. This is secret court that has all authority. The people who use these courts don't have any real authority. They bring lack of evidence. They don't need any evidence. All they have to do is say, and they get what they want. Okay, but the FISA court was set up along with the NSA and other agencies to stop further acts of terrorism against the United States. Think about that. Now, since that time of 9/11, in front of the committees and the Congress, and they had to explain themselves. Not only could they not do it, they refused to do it. They feel like they don't even have to alert Congress as to what they're doing. And when asked about the fusion centers, is where people who don't like you, teachers, really, it don't even matter, man. It don't even matter. Okay? And it has nothing, absolutely nothing to even do with any forth. Okay? Keep up. Keep up. So when the Congress questioned them and say, where's all of this money going? They also would not answer that. So let us answer it for you. It is going towards harassing American citizens, stalking American citizens. They had deputized everybody from your neighbor to your family members to the HOA. And God knows how these or any individual start to act against their own self-preservation, and in terms of what is best for them, then you have a problem. It is a dead giveaway of Borg infection. At any rate, instead of Congress just taking the money away, because keep in mind, not one terrorist have they found, not one plan, not one scheme, not one plot to blow up any part of the United States. Yet they keep getting millions of dollars. Who did you think? Why the Borg does this? To a largely moot point is unbeknownst to us, because the Borg seems to not understand that it is too late for that, and there's nothing else to be gained that would advantage its own survival. The entire return of gang stalking has been to push gang stalking victims to find other gang stalking victims, hook up with the Jesus. If you're looking at it spiritually, would be the wheat and the tare. God says that the wheat must be from the tare. See, spiritually, the tare is the Borg, and you are the wheat. If you need any more verification that you are the wheat, if the Borg are bothering you, harassing you, then you are the wheat. There's no real use for the tare, not to the farmer. The tare can be made hyper defense, at least in thought, hive or not, hive mentality or not. Hyper defensive posture produces hyper defensive action. Except in this case, the Borg's repertoire of weapons is very shallow. And once again, it seems to me it has been trapped by this very social order that it sought to control. And that the Borg can never say that I am a member of the Borg. No, it has submitted. So the Borg has to play this game of repetition over and over and over and over. And not only that, I am forced to ask the question, at this point, with the knowledge that we have, who's in control of what? Is the Borg trapped on Earth? I mean, are the Earthlings trapped amongst the Borg? Meaning, are the infected? Which are the Borg? They seem to have been ensnared by the very system of that as time evolves and the forces of different planes of belief line up on the battlefield, that the Borg will eventually reveal itself. And on that day, it will be the end of the Borg and the end of game stalking. I don't think that places like Houston, well, it's a lot of it. I'm pretty sure it is a underground secret economy at this point that is so many feeding their bellies off of gang stalk and others. It's so many. See, there's the married, there's the unmarried, there's the organized, and there's the unorganized, and so on and so forth. It's all up in that pipe right there. It's all up in that pipe right there. So don't expect the Borg to stop harassing you. What you do is you start documenting it. Keep a journal. Later on, make it a book. Make it a rolling video that you narrate. Because in no way can they stop. In no way. Understand? An algorithm. Insert words. use analogies and parables. At any rate, I hope I've given you a better understanding of what gang stalking is and what's really going on. Yeah, I'll wrap it up in a spiritual manner. How deep do I want to get? Not very deep. It is spiritual. It is those who believe against, for lack of a better word, or versus, for lack of a better word. I had a man tell me back in 2018, we both agreed that they everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. And we were in Houston. That was 2018. So when the man says that the earth died in 2019, me being a sophisticated thinker, I would love to ask the gentleman, could you define the word die, please? Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Source. I am